Hi guys, welcome back to Spill the Tea podcast. I'm your host Val, and I'm joined here with
Megan,
Sai,
Malyn.
And today we are going to talk about our college experiences and also what we think about college and any advice we have for high school seniors or anyone who wants to go to college.
Yeah, and
we're all graduating. By the way,
all three of you guys are graduating.
thank God.
That's crazy.
So exciting! Congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you guys really excited? Like,
I'm so
Ready?
excited.
yes.
Yeah, I don't want to do school
I'm
anymore.
done
wonder-
with college.
I don't
I'm
remember what
done.
life is like. Like just
Seriously?
having a job or yeah.
Well, I mean, Ty,
I guess
we've
we
never
never
known life
known
without
that.
school.
that's true. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like cognizantly, I guess. Like,
True.
I guess you were like 4 and thinking about stuff, but no, yeah. I'm so ready to be done, and it's definitely been a journey for sure. Is there anything that you guys kind of found in college to not be up to what you expected, or anything that like lived up to your expectations?
I feel like people say it goes by so fast, but I feel like it's been a long time, honestly.
I agree.
And like I'm definitely excited to graduate, but then I'm like, oh shoot. Like
Yeah.
now I can't be like, I have school and work and like no, like you're just like out in the real world now. Like
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that excuse.
yeah, like you're not a student anymore. That's no longer an excuse.
I feel like college did kind of go by fast because of COVID, though.
That's
Like,
true.
I feel like I blinked and I'm like a
Right?
junior and now I'm a senior, you know?
I
That's
think
very
every
true.
year felt kind of like a lifetime to me. Like every year was so drastically different in my experience that like I don't know, none can really compare to one another. You
That's
know?
true too. I feel like that's why it felt so long because
Mhm.
it felt like different lives.
Yeah, I
each
mean,
time.
when you're in high school, it's just like same environment every single day, 4 years. This time around, you don't even know what's gonna come next quarter. You know,
Yeah.
so
Well,
yeah.
I feel like as you get closer to the end, it also feels longer too,
Oh, agreed.
because
Yeah.
you're just like waiting for it to end. You
Mhm.
know, because like you can see the finish line, so it feels even longer.
I know I'm literally counting weeks, like counting days.
We're in week 3 or 4, I think.
I think we're about
of
next
10?
next week's gonna be 4. I
Yeah.
think. God, I hope.
Almost halfway there. A third
no, I
of the
think
way.
it's 3.
I think we're in week 3.
Of
Our
Yeah.
quarter.
I checked.
Oh.
Keeping up.
Yeah, but there's a lot to prep for. I feel like getting your
Yeah.
graduation stuff in line, pictures. Shout out Val.
Yep.
If you need
Grad
pictures done,
pics.
Val can get your
Shout out
pictures
Val.
done. But I don't know. I feel like it can be overwhelming, but to me, I'm like so giddy to be just done and put everything in the past, you know. But I feel like my college experience, I feel like maybe all 3 of our college experiences aren't really the most conventional as what you'd think of like a college experience. Like we all lived at home, we all commuted to school. Like we weren't
I
really like
commuted too
super
when I was
involved
in
like that.
college.
Malyn too, yeah.
Yeah.
So we all know what the commuting life is like, and I feel like that's really different from people that actually live on the campus, and that's
Mhm.
kind of all they know. And we also all 3 had jobs during the time we were in college, and I feel like that has a large impact on your perception of college a little bit.
Mhm.
So I feel like a lot of people's experiences are different from ours.
Did any of you guys want to dorm or live on campus or closer to campus?
If I went to UW Seattle, I wanted to,
Mm.
but I knew it was really expensive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really wanted
Yeah.
to. And like I feel like my freshman year, I felt a lot of FOMO, and
Mhm.
I was just like, oh God, people are doing all these things, like experiencing all this stuff. And now that I'm here at my senior year, I was like, I literally could care less. Like,
no, yeah.
I'm on
Yeah.
campus to go to class, and then I'm out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same here.
I remember the first time I saw a college dorm, and I'm like, I'm actually glad I don't live
Yeah,
here.
They're
seriously.
small.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's different when your home is like a few cities over.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's kind of like, what's the point? Like it's extra money, like
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
all these things. And I lived on campus when I went to Wazoo my first semester, and it's a whole different experience. Like it literally changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly kind of prefer just like not living on campus.
Seriously.
But
Is it more distracting?
I mean, I feel like also if you have a job
Mm-hmm.
outside of it, like I don't know, maybe it just feels like it's not your
like-
whole life.
yeah,
Like college isn't
seriously.
your whole personality. Like you have other
Mhm.
different things that you have to, I guess, like not put first, but like balance out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. For sure. I know. I wonder what it's like to be someone in college and not
No
have to work
job.
a day in their
Mhm.
life. Like, what is that like? Like, seriously,
Fun.
what
I
are you
mean,
doing in
that
your
would be
free
fun.
time? Fun.
Yeah.
I guess. But I feel like since we also had our working experiences, like our friend groups are very different from people that did go to college, like, or
True.
stayed on their college campus, because our friends, I would say for myself, is like my coworkers, people I've known from high school, like people that still live around me, you know? And I feel like people that go to regular, so I keep saying like regular,
Oh my
college,
gosh.
people that stay on their college campus get to meet people like
all the
from
time.
all the time,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
and
very
like
true.
their friend groups are just different.
Yeah.
But I prefer this, you know, the
Yeah.
real ones.
Mhm. The OGs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you live on campus, you
I
got fake
remember
friends.
I remember when I went to UW, and it's such a big college campus. Obviously, it's big university, so UW Seattle. And I would spend a lot of time on campus, but I just remember like all the people who did get to dorm found like their whole like community there.
Yes.
And it's easy to
Mhm.
like find the people, like a different group of friends, if that's what you're looking for, to find like new friends if you are living on campus or you're involved in all of these like groups on
Yeah.
campus.
And it's hard, like, if people at school want to hang out with you and they're
Mhm.
like, oh, you should come over tonight. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I live so and so far away.
Yeah.
Or
So
I work.
yeah, or I work, so I'll drive down to you. I can't stay though. Like I work in the
Yeah,
morning, I have
it's
school in the
different.
morning. It's different. Yeah.
Majority of my friends are living in Seattle.
Yeah, so you go to them a lot,
Yeah,
right?
I think majority of my friends right now I met through college, and
Yeah.
pretty much all of them go to UW Seattle. I do still have like high school friends, and like people I grew up with that are around here, and it's really nice to hang out with them because they're only like maybe 10 minutes away, and that's
Yeah.
Mhm.
it. But yeah, I would go to Seattle all the time to see them, and like it's not, I don't go as much now, but I remember like before I would go down almost every day. They'd be like, "Hey, you want to hang out?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay, sure." But like before Pochi's, I didn't have a job, so I had a lot of free time. I just had school, so like I would drive to them all the time, and but like also because I don't like letting people in my house, so I never asked them to come over.
So you go to them.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
I feel that. I was like that in high school too. I was
Mhm.
like, let's go to your house.
Yeah, I don't want people to come to mine.
Seriously.
Not the host type.
No.
Yeah.
But also
No.
it's different when it's not your own place.
That's
too.
true.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
Yeah,
true.
like if you're still living
When I
with your
moved
parents
out,
or
like
something.
everyone was always over.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, when it's your parents' house, it's like different. You have like people to respect, and like it's not
Mhm.
it's not like your stuff.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
have your own
Seriously.
place. Like you can trash it, make everyone
If that's
help
what you
clean
want.
it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be like a hangout spot, but I feel like that's how it is in college too. If you're like living on the dorms, you're more likely to like hang out and stuff because you guys have your own space,
Mm-hmm.
roommates, more friends. It's just like a convenience thing.
Yeah. Or I noticed that because the dorms are pretty small, that you're almost kind of like, if you don't like being in a tight space like that, that you're almost forced to get out there more too.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah, that's true. You got to be lucky with your roommate, I guess.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. Or especially like if you don't have a good roommate too. Yikes.
seriously.
Yeah.
I think the only experience that I've had of that is honestly just in this past year. Like, I was like, oh, this is my senior year. Like, I want that experience of living with like my friends and stuff. And honestly, like, I'd prefer this over any dorm experience. Like, living in an apartment on your own. Like, I know Sai can attest to this too, but like, you can do whatever you want whenever you want. Like, it's not just your parents that are like controlling you. It's like you don't have your dorm advisor like watching
Oh,
over
yeah.
you and breathing down your neck.
What were they called? Like a team?
RAs.
Not a-
RA.
RA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a lot more freedom this way, and like feels a lot more adult, you know, than aside from living at school, you know.
I mean, it does prepare you for like
it does.
life after school.
Right.
Yeah.
I was
after
gonna say
college,
like
because that's
having
what
a
it's really
job. Like if
Yeah.
you don't have a job in college, like, I feel like that'll like hit when you enter the real world and you
Mhm.
graduate, and then
Exactly.
you have to like figure out how the whole work thing works rather if you have a job in college, you kind of have like a little taste of that.
Yeah. I think that's why a lot of people panic after graduation. They're like, what am I going to do with my life type of thing. But we've already been, planning for our lives
seasoned.
and getting a little taste of the rest of our lives. So I think we're pretty set, just from my perspective. But
I
yeah,
agree.
maybe we should move on to some advice for graduating high school seniors. I don't know about you guys, but when I graduated high school, I really had this image of college in my head that it was going to be like the best 4 years of my life, which was not true. It was not true. College is way harder than I ever expected. Like, it's not just fun and games. It's totally opposite of that. But
Yeah, I feel like just like being prepared to know that it's like a balance. Like, yeah, it's supposed to be fun, but like also like they're hard classes. Like you have to work for your degree, like for any degree.
And I think college really tests your ability to manage time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. You have so much more freedom to like do
Yeah.
your work that it can be easy to fall behind.
Yeah, because like in
Definitely.
high school, you have school every single day, right? As long as you're not like doing running start or something. But if you're just in regular like high school, you have class every single day. You have all the same classes every single day. There's kind of like a schedule, right? And then in college, it's like, oh, you have classes 2 days a week. Maybe some it's every day, or maybe only like once a week. It really depends on the class, right? And then you have like the different types of classes too. You have your labs and then your lecture classes. There's all these different types of classes too. So it's like you really have to kind of like work with different schedules each quarter. And then it may seem like in theory that there's a lot of time in your day left because you're only maybe in class for maybe a few hours a day, but there's so much work that you have to do, so much homework or assignments.
And your professors like aren't making sure you're in line. Like that's where like the time management
on your
comes
own.
in. You got to take control of yourself, and like no one's like in check, like keeping you in check. Like how in high school, if you don't show up, like you're gonna
gonna
go
get a call.
noticed. Yeah, it's gonna go noticed. Versus in college, like
You
know
paid.
what? If you don't want to show up, then that's on you.
Waste your money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're paying for this. And then
Exactly.
some classes, like attendance doesn't matter at all.
Yeah,
Which
and
can be
most of my
scary.
classes
Which is
don't.
scary for some.
Which is scary.
And then some classes do. There's like, you'll get points or whatever for attendance and whatnot. But there's some classes that it doesn't even matter. You just got to be able to do the work. And your grade is based on like 3 exams only.
It's insane.
Those are some scary classes when the whole class is based on like 3 scores or something.
Seriously,
3 or 4
it makes
scores.
me panic.
Yeah.
No, I think another like misconception that I had when I went into college was kind of what kind of student I was. And in high school, I felt like I was a really good student, and I was like, oh, school is easy. Like, I have a great GPA. Like, I can kind of breeze by without doing much, like, blah, blah, blah. But then when I got to college, I was like, oh, everyone here, like, applied to the same college. We all got in here. We're probably all pretty high at the top of our high schools. Like, the competition gets cutthroat. And, like, from my experience, everyone is very competitive at UW. And there's not a person that you're going to be like, oh, I don't know, they're so much better than everyone else, because it's not like that, everyone is going to struggle. And I was personally shell-shocked when I got to college, because I was like, oh, I'm not as good of a student as I thought I was, and I had to kind of relearn how to study because it's way different.
You can't like in high school, I feel like I was really good at like getting things done at the last minute, like no matter what, I'm gonna do a good job and I'll get it done. In college, it's like you try to pull an all-nighter, not enough time.
Seriously.
Like, you need to prepare yourself.
Not
for
when
real.
one assignment is like reading like a whole book.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like that's what I felt like was there's a lot of reading in college, like a lot. Like you thought you read a lot in high school, buddy. Good luck. You'll be reading like a
With
ton for
anything that
each
you wanna
class.
study. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people can be discouraged when they first get to college, just because I feel like most classes are graded on a curve in my experience, and like I've gotten the shock of getting a grade back after studying all night long, like studying for weeks, and it's like a C-. And And I'm like, oh, I'm beating myself up because I used to be a straight A student. Like, what happened to me? But like, in reality, everyone around you is thinking the same thing. They're like, oh my God, like I screwed up. I'm the dumbest one in the class. You're not. Everyone else is going through the same exact struggle.
And then the
trying to
professor
relearn.
tells you that was like above average.
Yeah,
The C-
yeah, the C- is
Yeah.
literally above average.
Because it's higher up in the curve.
So
Yeah.
hard, yeah.
No one has it easy. Like everyone is struggling.
Did you
trust
guys
me.
get any like large lecture classes with like hundreds of people?
Oh
in it?
yeah,
I did at
I've had a bunch.
Wazoo. At UW
UW
Bothell,
Bothel's so
it's
small.
there's
Oh, that's
it's
right,
such a
yeah.
different.
Mhm.
I don't know.
It's a
super,
different environment. Like
yeah.
the experiences you guys are talking about is not the experience I have at all.
That must be
Yeah.
nice.
Also, because because of my major too, like
Yeah.
it is probably the most relaxed major you could ever do at any college that I've like heard of.
That's amazing.
Like I have never had huge lectures. I do things last minute. Like
It's
I-
nice. It's personalized to you though,
Yeah.
so like you have more connection with the professor when there's only like max 40 people to a class versus
Mhm.
hundreds.
I like that though.
Yeah,
I
love
like that as
I
well.
like UW Bothell because it really is like more catered towards what you want to do,
Mhm.
and the professors like really want to help you like
They
strive
do.
past college too.
And a lot of the professors will like go teach at the Seattle campus and then they'll come back and teach at the Bothell campus.
That's
so
cool.
I feel like that's like a misconception where it's like, I'm not going to the Seattle campus, like I'm not getting as good of an education.
Not
Mm.
true.
But like a lot of
Yeah.
my professors teach at both campuses. Like
yeah, like
That's
they're really
nice.
good
So-
professors.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
you'll
how
probably
big the
get a
college
better
is.
education at UW
Honestly.
Bothell or Tacoma than Seattle,
Yeah.
just
It's
because
easier
the
to get
teachers
help.
cater towards
I
you.
feel like
it's
just
easier to get help.
Yeah,
That's
no.
the thing.
It is easier because the big lecture classes, you barely are able to even talk to your teacher. And then
Seriously?
even
Yeah.
if you
I wouldn't.
tried, there's
You
just
talk
so
through a
many.
TA,
Yeah, you
or,
talk through
you
a
know?
TA or a line full of people
I don't
trying
even
to talk
think
to
there's
them.
like classes that have TAs at UW.
Really?
Because you don't need
No,
it,
there's
right?
not.
Yeah.
Weird.
Okay, and then TAs. So TAs for those who are listening who are in high school, that's a teacher assistant because in these big college campuses, they'll have a lecture class of maybe like anywhere from 200 to like I don't know,
I've
400.
had like 500 people.
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
Oh
class.
my
I think
goodness,
the most
that's
I've had was
crazy.
like 400 maybe. And man, they're rough. They can be rough.
Yeah. I mean, imagine one teacher trying to grade 500
Mhm.
quizzes, essays, whatever it is. Like, it's just not possible.
So you'll have your big lecture classes, and then you'll have your section classes, which breaks everyone up in the entire group into a smaller group where the TAs are teaching those section classes. And that's where you kind of get more like individualized help-ish. Well, that's the idea, but it's still a class of like 20, 30 people.
Mm-hmm.
So like for you guys, that's like a regular class,
Yeah.
except for like a big college campus, we're getting that class taught by a teacher's assistant. So you don't even get it taught by the actual
Professor.
Seriously,
professor.
it's usually like a grad student
Yeah.
teaching you. So it's
Mhm.
not even a person with like a
So do you
doctorate, you
guys-
know?
I forgot. Like, is there a lot of group projects? Like with those huge classes? I feel like
Not-
at Wazoo, I don't
Not
remember
with the
having
huge
any.
classes, no.
No.
Because at UW Bothell, like, I feel like my classes are like solely like a huge part of it is group projects.
Yeah.
I never have a
Really?
class that's like individual.
So
Interesting.
in the big lecture classes, because those are usually like your, I don't know, how do you describe those classes?
Those are usually like not the general classes, but like if you're
Your first
starting into your
year.
major,
Yeah.
yeah, like your first year classes or your first year of your major classes are typically going to be pretty big. And then as I've taken the classes over the years, like now my senior year, like my classes are a lot smaller, like maybe 60
Yeah.
max people, if that's even small. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And
it's
I
definitely
just
more
re-
localized.
I just remember when we did have those smaller section classes and the TAs taught those, it was to decipher what was talked about in the lecture.
Yep, exactly.
Because sometimes, depending on who you got as a professor, some people just have very different styles of lectures, and some are really easy to follow, and some are honestly not that great.
Terrible.
So part of your college career is navigating how to work with these different types of people and professors, because a lot of them are going to be your professors where half the time you don't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like
Dang.
trying to decipher the content itself.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also say be prepared to, like you said, like have a professor that doesn't work with your learning style, because a lot of my professors, it's not that they don't care, but like they expect you to adapt to whatever they're giving to you. So they're not going to cater to like what you need essentially. So you kind of have to figure it out.
Yeah.
They can't cater to like 300
No.
students.
No, so what you can do is cater to that one person,
Yeah.
right? So you
That
gotta
teaches you things for the real world.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the same.
honestly, it's like
Yeah. I feel like that's a huge
Self-sustaining.
part of college.
Yeah.
Like it's not just what the teachers are lecturing you. It's like how to adapt to all these things, how to things are not going to go your way. Like you're going to have to figure yourself out, have self-discipline. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
There
all
will
that
be
stuff.
failures. There will be
Yeah.
failures. There will be good times, but you know, it all kind of adds up to, you know, the bigger picture. And
Yeah. I would say like the first, like if you're at a big college campus in your first couple of years, you'll get a lot of those really large classes, but that doesn't last forever. Once you get into your major, I feel like that's where you get the really fun classes, because you get like smaller, there's smaller classes because you're in the department now, you're in your major, and they're more relevant or applicable to what you want to do. So then it starts becoming a lot more interesting, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
I think
Alright,
at Bothel's
guys.
kind of different though.
Yeah.
For,
Oh,
like,
that's
for-
true, because
well, for,
already.
like, for first years at least, like we have a thing called core classes. Those are like for usually first years, and those ones are the same sizes as like any other class at Bothell, and those classes are actually like really fun classes. Like I took a class that was for like my visual arts like credit or something.
Yeah.
And it was about like we were just studying horror movies. We had to watch horror movies like
I
every
took a
week.
class like that too.
Yeah, like
That's cool.
if you go to a small campus, sometimes it's a little
You know,
different.
I feel like, man,
There's
I
pros
wish,
and cons. Like
right?
Yeah.
it's just I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't like feel like you have to go to a big university, but then don't feel that like that's too scary or overwhelming too. Just like
Yeah.
do what you think is best for you.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like.
And I mean, Washington has like a really good like transfer program too. So
That's
you
true.
know,
Oh, yeah,
even if
that's
you
true.
do decide to like go to like UW Bothell and then transfer over, or
can
go
see
to a community
best of both
college,
worlds.
Mhm.
yeah, you kind of get the best of both worlds. I mean, if you go the community college route, you save money, and
That's
then
so true.
You can
they have
also
a direct
did that.
transfer.
Yeah, you can also take classes at the Seattle campus if you go to UW Bothell.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
if you want to commute, you could, but like
Yeah, I did one quarter take classes at UW Seattle and then UW Bothell as well, because that was the only like place that I could take the class. I forgot what class it was, but I did not like the commute to both.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
having
I
to
know.
go
I see
around,
why
like,
you would.
Washington.
yeah, having to commute to like one, like okay, you know, but like having to commute to both and like
Ugh.
back and forth
Your
was
day
terrible.
probably feels so long.
Seriously.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to just keep in mind is not to lower your expectations, but don't be so set in yourself once you get to college. Don't tell yourself that, oh, this is what I'm going to major in, like, for sure. This is what I'm going to join for sure. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life for sure. Because your mind will definitely change at some point about something along the way. And, like, you'll find a part of yourself that you probably didn't know existed until you got there. So I would just say to keep an open mind, you know?
Yeah. And kind of like think about what it is that you kind of want to get out of your college experience too, right? Because some people do go for like the connection and the social aspect, which is great, because I think networking and really kind of like building your community can get you really far too, and having a really good support system. And then some people are there literally just to get the degree, but like they have a whole life that they need to tend to outside of school.
Yeah.
So like really getting clear on like what it is that you want and are expecting or trying to get out of college. Because if it's like, if you do want to get involved in your college campus and like really like get all of these different experiences that you necessarily can't like outside of school, then that's where I think a big university is like really helpful, because like
for
UW Seattle has so many different organizations, like student organizations that you can be a part of, and so many different like resources.
Yeah. And you'll meet so many people.
Yeah, so
from
many.
all walks of life. All right. Well, I think that concludes this episode, guys. If anyone has any further questions about college or what to expect, feel free to DM us on Instagram. And we'll see you guys in our next episode.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.